This is the 200-mile bike ride that supposedly even a beginner can finish. But is that really true?
Today has been really rough.
This 6-day journey through France's famous southern region of Provence takes you over mountains, through world-famous villages, and into ancient cities with secrets that changed history. My wife Mary and I wanted to see if it's possible to finish this epic route even though we had never biked more than a day trip before. We wanted to know, is biking really the best way to see one of the most beautiful regions in the world? Can you just rent bikes in a foreign land and complete a major trip without ever visiting before? And is Provence really as beautiful as countless artists say it is? So after weeks of research to plan the route, spending thousands of dollars, and months of French practice to better connect with the locals, we traveled to the other side of the world to find out for ourselves. Our journey officially kicked off in the ancient city of Aix-en-Provence, where we rented bikes and set out on our first day of this 6-day tour.
So we talked to the shopkeeper who lent us these bikes, and after telling him the itinerary, for beginners that we crafted, him and another patron said, "Oh, bravo." To which I said, "Oh, okay." And right now, right off the gate, we're conquering a big ass hill.
Our plan for day one was simple. Bike north from Aix into the Luberon region while passing through several towns along the way. After 36 miles and over 3,200 feet of elevation gain, we would arrive at our bed and breakfast in the hilltop town of Beaumont de Pertuis. What could go wrong?
So the road just stopped here. We have to traverse this little bit, push our bikes through. This was most unexpected. All right, out of the bushes.
This is a lot of drama for not even having gone 2 miles out of town.
I hope this is not a theme. Honestly, that was kind of worth it. It's pretty nice.
I think that's lavender.
I think it is too. Baby lavender. Why did we want to do this bike ride through Provence, through the Campagne?
Well, we wanted to be able to really see what this place looks like. So much of the beauty of Provence is the land and the food and flowers and olive oil and wine that comes from it. So it's not really feasible for us to take a month off work and walk the area. So biking was a really great way to see this place close up and get a great survey of the region.
I think he sprayed me with a little water, but he missed. Classic farmer jokes. Taking a ride, honey. How was that?
It was good. Pretty mellow downhill, which was nice.
Good. Water break here in front of the community school. This is, I think, Saint-Canadet. We got our tiny little gluten-free pain au chocolat we got in Aix-en-Provence. Mary, how are we feeling? First leg.
I'm feeling like this is gonna be a little harder than I thought.
Let me show you guys the bike kit we got for this journey. So we rented bikes at a Prix Vélo in Aix-en-Provence. I think it was under €300 for 2 bikes. We both get 2 panniers. You get a lock, a pump. Here is an extra tube and tools for a flat, and you get a helmet as well.
The route is taking us along the canal for 2 miles, which seems like a nice choice.
Yeah, this seems like pretty quiet route.
Yeah.
I think I just underestimated the weight. With a touring bike and the panniers, I'm carrying 15 to 20 pounds more than I typically would. So it just makes me work a little bit harder up the hills.
In the back there, we have the Luberon range, which we're going to be hugging up against in the next couple days. We are in Le Puy-Sainte-Reparde. This is a cool wine cooperative founded in 1940, and Puy de Sainte-Reparde founded in 1924. This is kind of interesting. We are biking along these bodies of water here. People are fishing. There's like little creeks and stuff. And this looks like an abandoned road or something like that. This is the bike route through here. It's actually really nice, really peaceful. And there's really no one here. We're closing in on our first town, Pertuis. I don't know anything about it, but I'm happy that we have a little bike lane here. We don't have to be on the main road. It's pretty nice. They got little signs with bikes on them. We're happy. Yeah, that's a rugby field. At first I thought it was a football field, and then I had to remember what continent I was on.
A little over halfway to our destination, we bought a cold drink in the grocery store, and Mary adjusted her rental bike, which she was still getting used to. Our priority wasn't just to finish this ride, but to enjoy our time together in this romantic region. So we never hesitated to take a break whenever we felt like it.
So it looks like we're following right now this bike route here that's called Le Pays d'Aix or something like that. It's a bike route that has the number 14 on it, and there's signs directing us. So we're gonna be following that all the way to Beaumont de Pertuis, where we will have our Airbnb tonight.
But biking through the pastoral bliss and painted villages, we were starting to get a little bit worried. For one, we still had about half the ride ahead of us, and it was like 3 o'clock already. And more unfortunately, Mary's rental bike seat setup was not cooperating well with her body, and she was starting to feel some pain in the saddle. But we had no choice but to continue on and hope these were just biking quirks that we could overcome.
How's the bread?
It's really good.
No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain.
I love eating this artisan loaf among the vineyards.
Ah, yes.
It feels very French.
This is Provence. It's so pretty and quaint, and so far, everything I had imagined and more. Really excited for these next couple of towns and these next couple of days. You're conquered.
I'm walking this one.
All right.
Like a big loser.
That's totally okay. It's a big hill.
We pushed ourselves uphill through La Tour d'Aigues, hoping to arrive shortly thereafter in our destination of Beaumont de Pertuis. But Mother Nature had different plans for us.
We're like 40 minutes from the town, and I'm seeing some dark clouds ahead. So, yeah, we'll see how this is gonna go.
But that wasn't all. We also had to cross the southeastern flank of the Luberon Massif, standing between us and our bed for the night.
Right now, Mary's a champion. She's pushing through some pain she's had with the bike seat. She's doing a great job. Good job, Mary. You're crushing it, honestly. We've been going uphill for a long time. And you got a lot of weight on your bike. Little engine that could. If I were to make a prediction, I would say we are not going to finish this bike ride. In fact, we're probably not going to bike past tomorrow. It's possible that this is not a bike ride for beginners. And we put ourselves in a situation gear-wise where we couldn't execute on this and couldn't actually do it. So we'll see. But we're just gonna do what's best and what feels good, because after all, we're on vacation in a beautiful place, so we're just gonna have as much fun as we can. Got a rainbow portal that has opened up to the heavens. One, and a second one right in front. This is amazing. Look at that. Look how vibrant that is. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. That's like a beam. Wow.
I think it's two ends of the same rainbow. I just think it's enormous.
You think it goes above the clouds?
Yeah.
That's possible.
Every rock in this road was hurting Mary on the saddle. It was awful, but all we could do was keep pedaling. The next day's route was the section we were looking forward to the most, a meandering ride through some of Provence's most beautiful villages. But unexpectedly, on day one, that dream seemed in doubt.
Well, the good news is we are 2 miles away and that rainbow is absolutely out of control. The bad news is I just saw lightning, so chop chop. And there's our town. And that's it. That's our town. Beaumont de Pertuis.
The next morning, we needed to decide. Was it worth continuing on this 200-mile route? Mary, whose saddle sores were giving her hell, gave her verdict.
Not gonna lie, I don't feel great, but we're just going to try it and see how far we get. It should be the most relaxed day of the trip, and also the logistics of getting back to Aix with our bikes would be pretty challenging. So we're just gonna see how it goes.
We would have found a way out and enjoyed our time, but apparently my wife is built different. So we pedaled on, drinking in some quintessential Provençal sights.
Oh, a little bit of downhill, Mary.
Oh, yes.
We love it.
Injected in my veins.
On day 2, we still had to bike 26 miles with almost 2,000 feet of elevation gain. So it was no picnic, with both of us still sore from day 1.
I gotta say, even though it's easier for me, my ass is killing me today.
Our route snaked west through a dozen charming Provençal towns where we could refuel along the way.
I'm just trying to get from cafe to cafe.
Our destination for the night was the lovely town of Lourmarin, a town that one of my favorite authors, Peter Mayle, once called home. But we still had plenty of pedaling in front of us to get there.
Be careful here, Trev. This village is an ambassador of organ donors.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You're gonna take them, you think?
Just keep pedaling.
If someone comes through your organs, run.
The French love pâté, right?
One thing that we've seen along the bike route here, which is kind of cool, is there are these snail shells everywhere. All these little white dots, they're all snail shells. And this stop sign is just covered in them. It reminds me of barnacles. So that's neat.
Neat.
Luberon Vitrolles.
And it's here that we're gonna connect onto the Tour de Luberon, which is this blue symbol instead of our usual 14. And that's gonna help us continue on to Lourmarin through a couple different towns. How was the hill?
It's actually not that bad. It's not that bad. I'm okay. My legs are attached to my body.
We have a lot to be thankful for. Our legs are attached to our body, so things are going great.
We rested these legs so graciously attached to our bodies in the next small town and sat down for some lunch.
Mary's dream has come true. We have Bistro Launa
Here to save the day.
keeping us afloat. It is 11:50.
Okay.
We started at 9:15. Okay.
Yeah.
We only have like
We're a little
half
less
that.
than halfway.
Yeah, a little halfway. Bonjour. Pourrons-nous prendre une table pour deux? Merci. Est-ce que trop tôt pour manger ici ou
Midi.
midi?
C'est bon pour vous?
Ah, d'accord, c'est
bientôt,
maintenant.
C'est maintenant, je sais
Oui,
pas
oui.
quelle heure il est. Alors, oui, bien sûr.
Alors, j'ai beaucoup de questions pour vous.
Alors, je pose ça.
Je
et
m'excuse.
vous
D'accord.
écoute. Non, pas de souci.
Nous sommes allergiques au gluten,
Ok.
donc nous ne devons pas manger le blé,
vois,
le
ouais.
farine. Donc, c'est possible de manger quelque chose?
Je demande à la chef et je vous dis.
Oui,
Comme ça, je vous dis exactement ce qui est
super.
bon.
Merci beaucoup.
Allez, j'arrive.
Merci.
Comme ça, je vous réponds directement. Ça sera plus simple.
Merci. Yeah, bell just rang.
That's awesome.
It's new and ready for food.
That's right. So, I would be good with any of these.
Alors,
Super.
alors attendez, donnez-moi la carte, comme ça je vous montre.
Mhm.
Les moules gratinés.
D'accord.
Les panisses.
Qu'est-ce qu'on panisse?
Farine de pois chiche.
Ah, ok.
Oh.
D'accord.
Voilà. Salade César, mais sans poulet, du coup, vu qu'il y a la panure sous le poulet,
Ah,
je suis pas
d'accord.
sûre que. Voilà. L'andouillette. Sans frites.
Qu'est-ce qu'une andouillette?
Ah, comment expliquer une andouillette? L'andouillette, c'est du cochon du goût.
C'est un cochon. Ah, un cochon.
Tous les parties du cochon.
Ok, so that's pork. Pourrons-nous déménager d'une table? Merci.
Oui, comme vous
Super, merci. Well, that was an amazing 2-course lunch we just had. When I was paying, they were asking us where we're from. I told them we're from California, and she said, "Oh my God, that's a dream." And I told her that for us, this is a dream. And she's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, you know, the little villages, little romantic vineyards, things like that." And she's like, "Yeah, okay." And then in English, she said, the French dream." So we're gonna keep living the French dream on our way to Lourmarin.
We are entering Saint-Martin-de-la-Brasque. Oh, we got school kids going on a field trip.
Mary was still in pain on day 2, and I felt awful about it. We set out to bike a 200-mile route, but that isn't really what this trip was all about. We wanted to enjoy our time together, soak in the simple romance of Provence, and connect with each other away from our day-to-day responsibilities. And on day 2, we were wondering if we could keep that promise.
Oh, I smell the wine being made in there.
Wow, same.
Whoa.
With only 5 miles to our destination, we stopped in Cucuron, the last village on our way to Lourmarin, and I'm so glad that we did. Cucuron is so charming that it was even a filming location for Ridley Scott's movie, A Good Year, starring Russell Crowe, a movie that was based on Peter Mail's book by the same name. A book Mary and I read together just a couple weeks before arriving here. We stopped our bikes in the center of town where there's a big water basin that used to supply a nearby flour mill and now just adds a beautiful ambiance.
Hi. He's like, oh, hello.
Wow, this looks nice
It
too.
really does.
Look at this. Bonjour.
That's Anne-Sophie. She started La Glacière in the same building her grandfather used as a mechanic shop.
Merci beaucoup.
Est-ce que vous êtes d'accord que je ferai une photo pour mon Instagram? Comme ça, je
Bien
dirai
sûr,
que vous faites
bien
le
sûr.
tour du Luberon en vélo. Merci.
Pour vous, tout.
Oui. Ah, merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Après, je peux vous l'envoyer.
If you're ever in Cucuron, you're insane if you don't go to La Glacière. So I got apricot and lavender. Just the whipped cream is insane.
So good.
Apricot is to die for, and lavender is so smooth and subtle. And look how cute Mary's little scoop is. It's awesome.
It's mostly chantilly, and it's just a tiny bowl of lavande.
And you can sit right here at the étang, at the pond.
We're arriving in, I don't think I can say that. Well, we were in quickly and now we're out. Looks like next stop is Lourmarin or Lourmarin. I don't know how to say it. Should I say it like people say it in English because I'm speaking English, or should I try and pronounce it correctly in French? Lourmarin? Lourmarin. You pick.
We were so happy to find our Airbnb, eat, and get Mary off her bike seat to rest her body. The next morning, she'd once again decide if she could keep on going, but before that, we spent the evening strolling through this beautiful town. Lourmarin is a town we actually liked so much that you can find it in another one of our videos where we visited 7 of Provence's farmers markets in 7 days and discovered some beautiful towns along the way. How are you feeling today, Mary?
I am a little nervous just because this will be our longest ride,
Yeah, we're going 45
Four-
miles
yeah,
or something like
45.
that.
So the first day we did 35, and that was harder than I expected. And then yesterday we did 27. It's just much longer.
Day 3 was not only the longest day of biking so far, but also a ride that would open up a brand new adventure. The first half of this trip showed us Provence's most charming villages, but the second half would take us through 3 of Provence's most legendary ancient cities, each with their own interesting secrets. Our day 3 destination was Avignon, the city of the renegade popes, and we had 45 miles to overcome to get there.
Mary, one thing I've noticed is that there aren't any traffic lights. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, you're right.
Which is
That's
kind of
true.
nice on the bike. You can roll through, you don't have to stop constantly.
Totally.
We got a melon supplier in 1 kilometer. We got a giant melon producer. Bonjour. How we doing, Mare?
I'm pushing through.
You're pushing through, you're tough. You're the toughest there
This
is.
path is really nice though.
Yeah, it is
And
nice.
the view of the cliffs to the right
Yeah,
helps.
it does. You're a beast, baby.
Love you.
We're going through the tunnel of trees. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. We're in the jungle here. Isn't it like a little forgotten road almost?
I know.
Like this used to be a road, but now it's been overgrown and just used by cyclists and pedestrians. But I saw a car, so you gotta keep your eyes open.
This path is called Chemin d'On, and it hugs rail lines charting a straight path through the town of Cheval Blanc. This path ended up being one of our favorite sections of this bike trip. After its mountain views and peaceful miles through the forest, we were shown the full bounty of the fall Provençal harvest.
That
Those
is
apples
gorgeous.
are amazing. Oh, look at aubergines, eggplants. One question I have for all of you is, we know about French wine in the US, we know about French cheese, but I see olives everywhere here. And I don't think I've seen, or at least it's not marketed, French olive oil. It's always Italian, Spanish, or Greek, Turkish even. So if anyone knows this mystery as to why the French olive oil has not penetrated the American market, please let me know in the comments below, because I'm very curious.
Maybe they don't want to share. Those olives last night were unreal. There's a slight downhill here, so you're just sort of cruising, which is really nice.
Eventually, our slight downhill turned into a slight uphill as we pedaled into the mountains, excited to see Avignon after months of learning about it from afar. We stopped in the town of Cavaillon, where we rested at a cafe and discussed Mary's ongoing struggle with her bike seat. We decided that to keep our promise of enjoying our time together, the best way forward would be to take the train onto our final destinations. This is a victory coffee, because Mary has fought through injury for 3 days to a town that has a train.
We love trains.
Great job. I know it's tough ending the bike ride, but I'm proud of you for going as far as you could till we got to transportation, and I love you.
I love you, thanks.
Yeah, the point of vacation is to have a good time, and especially when you have a team, make sure the team is happy and having a good time. And so we're really happy that we have the ability to take the train to some beautiful towns coming up. So this is not over. We'll have more time to actually show you the city, so that should be fun. Later in this trip, Mary will show exactly what caused her injury and explain how to avoid this injury when you rent bikes abroad. But first, we traveled to Avignon and settled in before exploring the Papal Palace the next morning. All right, it's morning in Avignon, so we're gonna check out the Palace of the Popes. The reason why we're going to the Palace of the Popes is because this town, Avignon, was basically built up by the papacy In 1309, the papacy moved from Rome to Avignon because there was political instability in Rome. And for 70 years or so, the popes presided over the entire Catholic Church from Avignon. They moved back to Rome after the political situation leveled out. But a year after the pope moved back to Rome, he passed away, and a new pope was elected. The new pope, Pope Urban, instituted reforms that limited cardinals' finances, to which they said, heck no, we're actually going to elect another pope to replace you. So they elected a new pope to Avignon, which started what was called the Western Schism. Two different popes, two different places, one in Rome, one here under French crown supervision in Avignon. It was a real contest of who was the real pope, where should the pope preside. And already there was a beautiful residence here for the pope. There was some precedent from the times before, and it was a question that needed resolving over the next several years. So during the Western Schism, some cardinals got together and thought of deposing both of them and electing a new pope, which only resulted in 3 popes claiming the seat of the papacy. So finally, states had to intervene. The Holy Roman Emperor convened a court, and they decided to depose all 3 of the popes, and then they finally elected a new pope and installed him forever in Rome, thus bringing the papacy back to Rome forever.
That wraps it up here in Avignon. We are on our way to the next town, which is Nimes. We're gonna take the train to Nimes. Nimes has some interesting Roman roots.
We're going to show you Nimes' ancient significance by visiting 3 different ancient Roman sites. And then to bring us back to the present, we'll tell you about an item you probably have in your home that was invented in Nimes.
So we're walking up to the Tour Magna, which is a tower built by the Romans in the 1st century, I believe, that has a great view of the entire city. Nimes was established as a Roman colony for the veterans of the war in Egypt, the conquest in Egypt by Emperor Augustus. So here you'll actually see that the seal of Nimes is a crocodile and a palm tree, which Augustus bequeathed to the city as it was being established as a marker of his conquest of Antony and Cleopatra. For the exploration of Roman monuments, Mary has her Roman fit already. She's got her
Laurel.
Her laurel.
Caesar.
Like Caesar.
And then
That's right.
my Roman sandals.
Roman sandals. You look amazing. That's awesome. And I have white t-shirt.
Down the hill from the Tour Magna is an incredible public park that perfectly fit what Mary and I were looking for. A nice leisurely stroll where we could spend some time together and show each other every beautiful thing we stumbled upon.
It's actually incredible. It's like a big public park, but it looks like a royal garden with these beautiful water channels and swans and palm trees and grottos.
Like just that little island in there. Little sculpture island.
Dude, that guy is petting the swan straight up. It's like giving it big head pats.
Dude.
It's unreal.
Unreal.
That is, I've never seen that before. They also have a Temple of Diane, which is a Roman temple. And you can even see some Roman writing on those pillars still. Whoa. Okay, maybe you got some Roman writing on the top there. I feel like this is how ruins should be seen, like in ruin, just in a park. No one guarding them, you just walk in. It's amazing. You can still see some of the original patterns on the ceiling here.
Everyone needs some time to wander and get lost. We all work hard outside of our vacations. Sometimes we even work hard during our vacations. Mary and I shot an entire short film at the start of this vacation in the south of France. It's a fun story about a honeymoon gone awry, which you can watch on our other YouTube channel called Loitering Frame, where we'll be releasing short films as fast as we can make them. After our stroll through the park and a nice meal, we went to see the second Roman site, the Maison Carrée, one of the best preserved Roman temples in the world. This temple was built to honor Gaius and Lucius Caesar 2,000 years ago, and I hope I age this well. So probably the jeans you're wearing right now are made of denim, which means de Nimes, as in from Nimes. So Nimes invented the cloth that jeans are made out of. And then in America, Levi Strauss took this cloth, perfected it, and made it into jeans that we wear today. So Nimes has a textile history that has influenced probably the most popular garment in the world. The next day, we visited the third and my favorite Roman monument in Nimes, the Nimes Arena. And before we biked on over, Mary wanted to take 90 seconds to give everyone a sense of what went wrong with her bike setup during our trip so that you can avoid these issues.
Really what it came down to is I didn't dial in the fit of my bike well enough before starting off on a multi-day journey. When you order them, you put in your height and weight, and that determines what frame size you need. So the frame size for me was fine. It was really these sort of last minute finesse items that could have been better. Namely, the distance between the seat and the handlebars. My handlebars were too far, and so in reaching for them, it ended up pushing my body forward, tilting my pelvis forward, and totally changing my body positioning on the saddle, which just ended up giving me really terrible saddle sores, which were really uncomfortable, dumping weight into joints, and using muscles that I really shouldn't have been engaging properly on a long bike trip. I would really recommend taking time to dial in the fit of the rest of the bike. So once you have your frame size, make sure that the saddle is in the right position for you. Make sure that those handlebars are close enough and your body positioning feels good on the bike. Even if you have time to rent the bike for a short day trip before you start off on your multi-day journey, I think that could really help, because things that feel a little uncomfortable at mile 10 by mile 80 could be considerable challenges, and that's what happened to me and why we ended up cutting the biking portion of our trip short.
These gladiators are getting younger and younger.
I have literally no frame of reference, but there's just something like ancestral in me, like walking out of that tunnel into here. There's like some sort of primal fear of like, where are the lions?
They fight bulls here today. That's why you've got the red fence to track the bull and people can jump right over into safety.
Gladiators come. These people are doing a thumb war.
Oh, the thumb war. Who will win?
Our final stop on this journey is the world-famous city of Arles. You've seen Arles, you just don't know it yet. Arles is the site of one of the most recognizable paintings in the world, and we went to find the location itself. On our way there, we meandered through the Arles Arena, the Roman Theatre, and the Baths of Constantine, which had a sophisticated system of hot water pipes thousands of years ago. We may not have finished the 200-mile bike ride for beginners, but we sure don't regret trying, and our trip ended even better by supporting each other and taking more time to explore on foot. The next day, we'd settle into a lovely house close by where we'd watch a cat, a lovely old dog, and enjoy watching time pass in Provence, just as Vincent van Gogh did when he immortalized a simple cafe in Arles that was nothing out of the ordinary, but somehow, like Provence, left an impression.